Hi, AP Stat students. AP Stat students, happy Friday, April 24th, I believe it is today. I want to go over with you the practice AP exam that we held on Wednesday. Remember, we're going to do this every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30. You have 30 minutes to answer, or an hour to answer two questions, so 30 minutes each. Thank you to all of you that joined in this past Wednesday. Some of you maybe didn't know. Some of you thought this was an actual quiz, and some of you messaged me or messaged your classmates. And those of you that messaged me, I just played along, and I didn't tell you it was optional. And some of you still did it, but I hope it was good practice for you. Okay, so please, 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 we have like a handful of Wednesdays until the actual AP exam. I think this would be really good practice for you. So the first question here simply dealt with one variable statistics, which is really chapters 2 through 5 or 2 through 6. And if you read through it, you can look at it here. You can look at it on AP Classroom. Remember, these questions are available to you. You just have to Google it pretty much, or you can look at AP Classroom. This is in the 2007 B AP exam. This is question number one. Question number one historically was always an easier question to kind of get you into the test, and then the questions got more difficult. So you're going to make a stem plot for part A. A stem plot, if you remember, looks something like this. Now, some of you did your stem from bottom up, like you started from 0 on the bottom and then you moved up. Some of you did like 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. That's fine, just be consistent. However, one part that a lot of you missed was putting a key or legend right here. You have to explain what your stem leaf plot actually means, okay? So I made the whole problem out of 4 points. I'm sorry, whole problem out of 10 points, and I gave this part 4 points. Okay, so part B was asking you use stem plot to describe the main features of the score distribution. So whenever you have to describe the distribution, you're going to remember that acronym CUSS. CUSS. So center, unusual features, spread, shape. You can answer these questions as bullet points, or you can write into a paragraph. Okay. One of the key features that some of you missed was that there were a cluster. You can say that there's a gap right here, or there's two separate clusters. Okay, and that's really important because in part C you'll have to bring that up. Okay. Part C asks, why would it be misleading to report only a measure of center for the score distribution? First off, remember the center is going to be used is going to be described by either the mean or the median, right? Mean is average, median is the middle number, and the median here is, I believe, was 18, and then the mean was 22.95. 22.95 is actually right here, but there are no values right there, so it'd be misleading to use that number as a center, okay? Especially because even if you used 18 as your median, you have values all the way to 44 and as small as 8. Okay, so would an average really be indicative, or would it be a good representation of your distribution? Probably not. So this is where you may want to talk about spread. You may want to talk about your standard deviation and things like that. Or that's bimodal, okay, or skewed right even. So I have some questions for you. I wanted to ask you about this whole process. Did you have enough time? This was your first like timed quiz, practice quiz, or a practice AP exam, and on the actual exam you're going to have 25 minutes, right, for the first question and 15 for the second question. So that's not a lot of time. Okay, so I thought this would be good practice of 30 minutes and 30 minutes. For this test, I know some of you used your notes. Some of you even just Google the answers for these questions. Okay, remember this is just practice. I hope on the actual AP exam that you have all of your materials laid out in front of you and your laptop's fully charged and no distractions and you're ready to go. Okay. Uploading process. Two things I noticed. One of you sent me the wrong picture for one of your responses, and someone else sent me your work. We're supposed to be landscape, but you sent to me I'm sorry, it's supposed to be portrait. And you sent to me landscape. So don't. That's not a good way to. That's not a good first impression with your AP grader when he or she grades your test. Questions on grading. I have no idea how these questions are going to be graded. Traditionally, questions have been graded on a 4-point scale. Now, these questions, I think your actual AP question is not going to be this easy. This is, relatively speaking, easy. Okay? There's going to be many, many more parts, and then you're going to have less time to do many, many more parts. So next week on Wednesday, I believe, I have a call with the AP Stats Math or AP Stats person, and that person's supposed to give us a little bit more detail as to how the test is going to be formatted and graded. Okay. The second question, part 2, had to do with wolves, North American wolves, and part A, you were basically talking about positive, linear, and strong. Now, this question is 2 variable statistics, right? It tells right here 2 variables. So your explanatory and your response. Your explanatory is the length of the wolf in meters, right? It says right here in x, and your y is your weight in kilograms. They don't ask you that, but it's good to put this in context. So remember with 2 variable statistics, you're going to be using the acronym DFSU, direction, form, strength, and unusual features. So direction has to do with positive, right? What does positive mean? A positive just means there's a positive relationship. As one increases, the other increases as well. The shape would be linear. What does linear mean? As one increases, the other one increases by a constant amount, okay? And then the strength right here is the relationship. How closely does it follow a linear relationship? And you don't need to tell us what the R is. You just have to say that's what it means, how closely it falls to a line. Part B here says interpret the slope. So they give you, go back up here, this is your linear model, your equation, and you have to remember which one's a slope, which one's a y-intercept. Now hopefully you remember that your slope is always attached to your x variable. So it's the positive 35.02. The positive is key here. Okay, so what does that mean in context, right? So in context, that means for every increase in 1 meter of length, our linear model predicts, okay, on average, increase of 35.02 kilograms in weight. Now, if your slope was negative, the wording would all be the same, except it would just be a decrease. Part C is asking, one wolf in a pack with a length of 1.4 meters has a residual of negative 9.67. So if something has a negative residual, what does that mean? Think about that, okay? Now, you might remember, this is the work that College Board gives you. This is one way of doing it, or you can remember RIP RAP, right? What does the RIP and the RAP stand for? The RIP is residual equals, sorry, not RIP RAP, ROP RAP. I forgot my own acronym, I'm sorry. ROP RAP, so it's residual equals observed minus predicted, or the RAP would be residual equals actual minus predicted. Okay. So if you calculate that, you're going to get a 22.898 or 22.9, some of you rounded to. Right? Again, both these questions were fairly easy. I'm pretty much sure, like almost can guarantee that you're going to have at least one hypothesis test question or a confidence interval. So one inference question for sure. Okay? So look this over. Even if you didn't do Wednesday's practice quiz, look these questions over, okay? Let me know if you have any questions, guys. Bye-bye.